trying to join in, and we're just going to continue. I guess some other people are going to join us, right? But for now, we have to go on. So if you can hear me, if you can see my screen, please leave a comment in the Zoom box. Leave a comment in the comment section. Okay, awesome. Good evening, Solomon. I can see Mayaki, I can see Solomon, and I can see, Olatunde be trying to join in. Okay, awesome. I hope you had a wonderful week. My name is Ileke, and once again, you're welcome to Crypto Over Coffee, your favorite weekly talk show. Okay, so if you're just joining us, once again, you're welcome, and this is where we get to talk about a lot of things, right? We get to talk about everything that concerns cryptocurrencies, okay, and especially for you as a newbie, if you're just joining the system, all right? So if you're just joining for the first time, make sure you head on to our YouTube channel, Crypto Over Coffee, and watch the previous episodes, right? Because you have a lot to gain from this episode. We've shared a whole lot since we've started. We've had amazing people. We've had amazing people on the platform. So yeah, if you're joining for the first time, make sure to go on, head on to our YouTube channel, watch the videos, and get it started. Okay, so once again, good evening to everyone just joining us. Thank you for your patience. If you're just joining, once again, this is Crypto Over Coffee, and my name remains Ileke. So today we're going to be looking at something really awesome, something really beautiful. Wow, if you were here last week, we had Chike Okonkwo on the show, and it was really amazing. We had an amazing time being with the head of partnership of NABO, all right? And we talked about how to profit from the Naira depreciation as well as the Naira devaluation. 2 weeks before that, we had Samuel Joseph from the co-founder of Hagalex live on the session. And we talked about how to profit from the devaluation. And we also had, it was also an AMA, and we had some lucky persons who went home with free Hagalex tokens. And of course, we're planning another AMA sometime soon. Keep your fingers crossed. I'll be posting every related information, every needed information on the groups on WhatsApp. Okay, so keep your fingers crossed for the next AMA. It's going to be bigger, it's going to be more exciting, and we're going to have more winners. All right, so today we're going to be talking about something amazing. Like I said, we're going to be talking about crypto myths. All right, so basically, we are a community. Now, I noticed that a lot of persons in our community are newbies, all right? And by the way, this is the reason we founded Crypto Over Coffee, to give quality crypto education to starters, okay? To newbies just joining the ecosystem, right? And today, we're going to be talking about myth, because if you are a newbie in the crypto system, there are definitely some things that you might have heard, and some myths flying around that you're not sure if they're right or wrong. By the way, that is what a myth is. A myth is a popular belief that is false. It's popular, but it's false. So, this goes to tell us that not everything that's popular is actually right. All right, by now that since the launch of Bitcoin in 2009, there's been a lot of misinformation. Okay. All right, so we have Solomon connecting from Abia State. Oh, Solomon, nice to have you on the show. Okay, so I'm waiting for the comments from other people. Tell us where you're joining in from. All right. Okay, so I was saying that if you've been on the show, we've been talking about cryptocurrencies and how it was launched in 2009, right? And that since it was launched, there's been a lot of misinformation and myths surrounding it, shrouding it. Okay, before I started my cryptocurrency journey personally, I used to feel that it was quite ambiguous. Like, I used to feel like it was so technical. Like, the sound of blockchain, the sound of cryptocurrency just sounded so technical to me. It sounded so complex. It sounded like something that I would never understand. It sounded like rocket science, you know. But then on getting into the industry, I realized that, wow, this is not as complex as we think it is. Okay, so basically that is one of the myths, and we're going to explore that. Also, now for people who started cryptocurrencies back in the days, in 2010, in 2011, you would realize that a lot of them now, when you ask them, when you meet them personally, and you ask them, oh, you had Bitcoin back in the days. You know, some persons back then had Bitcoin. They got it from playing computer games and the likes. So when you ask them, why did you sell your Bitcoin? Why didn't you hold on to your Bitcoin? They will tell you that, first of all, they didn't think much of it. But apart from that, there was really no verified information about the industry. Okay? You know, it's unlike now where everything is so simplified. You have apps, you can just type Binance, you can just Google something, and then you have tons of material. You know, it wasn't like that back then. In 2010, in 2011, 2012, even up until 2013 and 14, there was no information. Like, we really had limited information about the industry. So as a result of that, there were lots of myths that people just fell for. You know, there were lots of false beliefs that people just adopted and took it as the norm. And actually, these things were wrong. But with the as time went on and there was a lot of advancements, so also came a lot of information, and that was how people now began to realize that, oh, some of these things that we believed in the past were actually wrong. All right, but we believed them for so long, and they've also made us they've caused us to make some bad decisions, like selling off our cryptocurrencies, selling off our Bitcoin. And who knows, the guy who sold his Bitcoin for pizza, it was probably because of some wrong beliefs that he had. Okay, so now what this implies is that if we don't demystify these things, if we don't debunk this myth, it means that in the years to come, and in this present time, newbies and people just starting out their journey are probably going to make the same mistakes. They're probably also going to make wrong decisions. And this is the essence of what we are doing tonight. If you're here, if you can hear me, please type a comment in the comment section and say, I can hear you. All right, so we have Olatunde B. Good to see you, Olatunde B. Anyway, you were not the first to join in today, but there's no free Hagalex token today, so don't worry. All right, Olatunde B is joining in from Ibadan, right? Did I get it right? Okay, from Lagos. Okay, awesome. All right. So now we're going to be exploring 10 of these myths tonight. 10 of them, and the very first one is this: cryptocurrency is cash for criminals. Or basically, cryptocurrency is primarily used for illicit activities. Now, a lot of persons, you know, they hold this general belief, and if we take it down to Nigeria, in this part of the world, especially those people who do not understand it, and probably some government officials too, they insist on banning cryptocurrency in this part of the world because they feel like cryptocurrencies are primarily used for illicit activities. Now, why this is not exactly what we're going to be doing as we talk about this 10 myths is that we're going to be comparing them side by side, the traditional financial system, and see if really this fault per se, this fault as it were, applies only to cryptocurrencies, or they are just general with the financial industry. We're going to be doing that. So first of all, the first myth is that cryptocurrency is used for illicit activities. Is this true? Well, to a reasonable extent, yes. But to a reasonable extent, no. Now, we cannot definitely say that cryptocurrency is a saint when it comes to illicit activities. Of course, we know on the dark web, a lot of people use cryptocurrencies because, and their preference for cryptocurrencies is as a result of the fact that it is untraceable, all right, because of the anonymity feature of cryptocurrencies. That's why people prefer to use them for illegal activities. But then that is not all. That is just a single story, all right? And we know the danger of a single story. We need to always tell a balanced story. Now, I'll tell you how this particular ideology or this particular myth came to be. It was because of an event that happened back then when cryptocurrency was launched. After cryptocurrency was launched, somewhere around 2010 and 2011 to 2012, there was this event called the Silk Road event. Now, after this broadcast, you might want to, do your own research and read more about the story. It's called the Silk Road event, and I'm going to type it in the comment section so we can see that. The Silk Road event. Okay, so what was this event about? Now, basically, the Silk Road event was like a digital black market platform, right? It was an illegal platform that was popular for money laundering activities. Now, it was a platform that was created by someone to connect drug dealers with their buyers. It was illegal. Of course, you know that drug pushing is illegal wherever in the world, But so that particular platform was created by someone in the dark web to connect people who were in possession of these drugs with people who wanted to buy them. All right. It was launched in 2011, but then it was the FBI in America cracked down on it in 2013. Okay. Now, this is the reason. Now, based on this premise, people generally have believed that, or people have, created an ideology or a myth around the fact that because of this Silk Road event, or because this was successful and it ran for a couple of years, Bitcoin is used for illegal activities. Now, I want you to know at this point that on the Silk Road application, the dominant currency, in fact, the only currencies that were used for transaction were cryptocurrencies, and Bitcoin in particular. So Bitcoin was used for transaction, and it was so well calculated and it was so organized that it was so successful. It was highly successful. Apart from the fact that they used a lot of, in as much as the Bitcoin transactions are not traceable per se, they are transparent. All right. Now, you might not know what this means, and in case you don't know, please head onto our YouTube channel and watch our first videos where we talked about the futures of Bitcoin, why cryptocurrencies are a preferable option in this time and in this day. So yes, Bitcoin transactions might not exactly be traceable, but they are transparent in the sense that they're on the blockchain and everyone in that ecosystem can see them and validate them. The miners can validate them. Okay, now the Silk Road application actually used a twist. They put a twist to it. And what was this twist? They invented something called the dark wallet. Now, the dark wallet was invented to encrypt and mask all the Bitcoin transactions that happened on that application. All right, so at the end of the day, the transactions on that application were totally untraceable, like they were masked. And that was what made it very, very, very extremely successful. Okay, so but then of course, in life there are snitches, and maybe perhaps something went wrong somewhere, and then the FBI learned about the existence of the marketplace in 2013 after it had successfully run for 2 years, and then in partnership with the DEA and the IRS, they cracked down on the underground drug market. Okay, and so that was how the application packed up, and then they also they arrested the owner. I don't know his name now. He's okay, you can Google that anyway. So they arrested the owner, and they also seized more than 144,000 Bitcoin. So the FBI got the founder of the Silk Road application, and he was arrested and he was given a life imprisonment. Okay, so now because of this story, over time, people have just concluded that Bitcoin is only used, or cryptocurrencies generally are only used for illegal transactions. This is very wrong. All right. we cannot base the use of cryptocurrencies on one negative event that happened. By the way, come to think of it, even fiat currencies, our naira, our dollar, they are also used for illegal activities. So this is not just about Bitcoin. It's not about Bitcoin. It's something that happens in the financial market. Whether cryptocurrencies, whether physical currencies, anything can be used for illegal activities. So this is not peculiar to Bitcoin. So this is the number one myth, and we have debunked it. So from today, if you were thinking that Bitcoin was probably, or cryptocurrencies were only or are only used for illegal activities, then I want you to debunk that mindset, because it is not true. Okay, so you might also do well to head on to after the show, go and research and read about the story. It's actually a very interesting story. All right, so if you're still here, if you can still hear me, drop a comment in the comment section and say I can hear you while we move on. All right, the second myth we're going to be debunking tonight is the fact that people feel that digital currencies, generally cryptocurrencies, do not have any value, and that one day they might just disappear into thin air. We had a conference some time back, I think 2 months ago. It was a speaking conference, and I had to talk about blockchain and cryptocurrencies generally. And at the end of the day, someone accosted me and was like, please, can you kindly explain how this thing works? Because I feel obviously it's someone that is a bit advanced. The person was not a millennial, okay? The person was, our parents' generation and all of that. And I perfectly understood, right? Because I always say that cryptocurrencies are for millennials like us. They are made for us. We have the capacity to understand it. Our parents might not understand it. So she accosted me and said, please, I feel like this cryptocurrency thing doesn't have value. Like, I don't know how it works. How is it that I can't touch it? I can't see it. It's not tangible. Yet you're telling me that it's money. How does that work? And I smiled. I understood her fears. I understood her skepticism. And then I sat it down and I explained to her. And she was like, oh, really? Wow, this is interesting. Okay, so it's like invisible money. And I'm like, yes, invisible money that has value. Okay, it's just that you can't see it, you can't touch it, you can hold it. So a lot of persons feel that because they cannot steal cryptocurrencies, they cannot touch it the way you can touch your naira, the way you can touch your dollars, it doesn't have any value. But that is not true. It's not true. Cryptocurrencies have value. In the second episode of the Crypto Over Coffee, we talked about this. Yes, we talked about the evolution of money, and we also talked about the unique features of money. Why money is money? Why is money money? Is it because we can touch it? Is it because it's hard currency? Is it because it's hard currency? Is it because you can see it? What makes money money? And we said that in that episode that one of the features of money, one of the things that makes money money is acceptability. So if we decide today that we start using metals as money, as a means of exchange, and everybody accepts it, believe me, it's going to become money. Okay? So the currencies are not tangible doesn't mean they don't have any value. They have value. And that is why you can have Bitcoin and exchange it for cash. Okay? That's why you can decide today that you have 50,000 naira and I want to buy Ethereum. And then you find a vendor that can sell to you and you exchange your money for cryptocurrencies. So the fact that cryptocurrencies are not tangible doesn't mean they do not have value. They have value. Okay? And they have value because you can use them as a means of exchange. If cryptocurrencies didn't have any value, then it will not be exchanged for your fiat currency. It will also not be exchanged for goods and services. And I hope you know that there are so many businesses right now, so many websites, so many vendors that are accepting, away from the blockchain industry now, so many people outside the blockchain industry that have started accepting and embracing cryptocurrency as a means of exchange. So if you have been thinking that cryptocurrencies do not have any value, then you have to change your mind tonight because they do. And of course, cryptocurrencies are going to increase in value in the years to come. Unlike our fiat currencies, I'm sure you know that 5,000 naira in this day and age, or say 500,000 naira in this day and age, is not as valuable as 500,000 naira in 2009. Okay, this is because our fiat currency is subject to depreciation and devaluation, unlike cryptocurrencies. And this is a really unique feature of cryptocurrencies. And this is why you see that, just like land, cryptocurrencies are constantly appreciating in value, and they'll continue to appreciate. Okay, so in case you don't have any, in case you've not considered getting into the blockchain industry, in case you've not considered saving some money in cryptocurrencies, I think you should begin to do that. Right? So the third myth we're going to be looking at today is the fact that people think that cryptocurrencies are not secure. Okay, now I do not blame them. Their fears are very valid. Okay, the fear is valid. Anything generally that has to do with the digital space comes with a lot of skepticism and fear, and that is because over time we've seen so many scams. And when I'm talking about scams, I don't mean small scams, I mean high profile scams, So this has raised a lot of fear, and this has caused a lot of skepticism in the hearts of many people. And like I said, it's very valid, but then let's look at it for what it is. Now, when it comes to cryptocurrencies generally, I'm sure you might have heard that at some point in time, Binance has been hacked. Some other exchanges have been hacked before. I'm sure this is a familiar story if you're familiar with this industry. Okay, in fact, sometimes you might even get first-hand information before it happens. So these attacks are planned. They are very well thought out. And sometimes these cyber attacks are targeted at exchanges. Why? Because the perpetrators of this act, they are able to pull out a huge chunk of money when they attack exchanges, unlike when they attack just one wallet. How much can they possibly get from an individual's wallet? But when an exchange is attacked, they cut away lots and lots and lots of Bitcoin, and most times it's not even traceable. So this is a cause for fear. Now, but then this is what you should know. Like I said, we're comparing the negative and the positive. We're not saying that these negativities do not exist. We're not saying that they do exist, but they are not as bad as they are exaggerated to be. Okay, that's why we're debunking them. And of course, I also said that they are not peculiar to the cryptocurrency, to the blockchain industry. These things also happen in the traditional financial industry, so there's nothing unique about it. Okay, now cryptocurrency uses a security method known as cryptography. Now this is a high-end security method. You might want to go and do your research after this episode. Cryptography is a high-end security method. That's why cryptocurrencies are very secured. Okay, but apart from that, like I said, we've seen cases where cyber attacks are launched on exchanges and even on people's wallets. Okay, maybe somebody just steals your password, and that's why you have to be very careful with how you keep your keys and your keys generally, so that nobody breaks into your wallet and cuts away your Bitcoin. You have to be very careful and make sure you keep your keys very securely, because of course, once you lose your key, you lose access to your wallet. Okay, now how do you protect yourself from these scams? Because I cannot guarantee you that, in as much as cryptocurrencies are very secured, I talked about the high-end security it uses, which is called cryptography. I can't guarantee you that you might not fall victim of losing your asset. It has happened to me once, and virtually everyone I know has a story to share about how they've lost some money in this space. Any trader that has not lost money, maybe through trading or through scam or wallet infiltration, well, I don't know about that trader, but like they say, no pain, no gain. I personally have lost some money to an exchange hack before. Okay, and I know what it feels like. But there are some things that you can do. There are some measures you can take as an individual. Now, most people capitalize on the carelessness of their wallet owners, and that's why when you're setting up your account, you need to do things like 2FA, your two-factor authentication. You need to, create specialized emails for your cryptocurrency wallet. Don't go using the emails, your general purpose email, the emails you use for every other thing, all and sundry. No, you should create specialized emails strictly for your blockchain activities. Then you should also, make sure you enable security, your text messages, your 2FA, every form of security that you can incorporate. Make sure you do that. Now, when you do that, you're on the safer side. Okay, and then also to avoid, that is on a personal level. Now, on a general level, how do you prevent being a victim of an exchange hack? Now, most times crypto enthusiasts, they always recommend that people should not save their assets on centralized exchanges, on exchanges generally, whether centralized or decentralized. Why? Because when an exchange is hacked, there's a tendency that you might not get your money back. For me, I didn't get my money back. It went like that, So now there are some exchanges are more secure than others, and that's why as an individual, you should make sure you carry out proper research before you leave your money on any exchange. Of course, we know that Binance is the most popular exchange, the trading exchange. An exchange like Binance, of course, is secure. Now, there's so many new exchanges, so many thousands of them. You have to be careful, especially with the unpopular ones, because you are not sure of their security measures. But talk about Binance, at least you're quite sure of Binance. You can leave your money on Binance, because at the end of the day, it's totally unavoidable. You cannot there's something called a cold wallet, right? Some of us we might be aware of it, we might know it. Sometimes it's called Ledger. It looks like a USB. It's a cold wallet, or it's also called a hardware wallet. Now, you can also save your tokens. That if you have a lot of them, you can save your tokens on the hardware wallet away from the exchanges. At least it's tangible, it's physical, you can hold it, you can touch it. But then not everybody has gotten to that point. And even if you save your assets on the hardware wallet, you still need to leave some on the exchanges. It's a can't do without. So this is why you should check the exchange you're trading on. If you are doing a temporary trade on an unpopular exchange, do your trade and move your assets to a reliable exchange like Binance. Now, if Binance is hacked, for instance, at least you have a level of insurance. You have a level of insurance. I think they have insurance. There's a form of insurance that they have. And even if you don't get all your money, you might be able to get some back. Okay. So basically, this is how it works. This is how it is. Now, the fourth myth we're going to debunk is the fact that people think that digital currencies are bad for the environment. Okay, before we go on to that, also know that even your traditional banking system, sometimes banks get attacked and you lose your money. So this is not akin to cryptocurrencies law. Moving on, the fourth myth we're debunking is the fact that digital currencies are bad for the environment. Of course, we know that the last bear market was fueled by the fact that China was clamping down on lots of mining rigs, right? On the basis of the fact that they said that they were consuming too much energy. Now, that raised the question of, does crypto mining affect the environment? Now, it might not really affect us in this part of the world, because we're not really, big on the environmental thing, unlike in the Western world where they're very big on climate issues. Okay, so now let's look at that critically. Okay, in as much as we know that mining cryptocurrencies takes a lot of energy, we can't deny that fact. And of course, China has cheap power supply and a lot of it, and that's why you see that most of the mining rigs are in China. Okay, now if the government begins to clamp down on crypto mining rigs, then the price and the circulation and the supply of cryptos will be affected. Now, but this is where it gets interesting. Most of these cryptocurrencies are fixed in supply. So we know exactly how much of it are supposed to be mined. And once we hit that threshold, there is no more mining. So that's one. So what that means is that even if at all cryptocurrency mining is having any negative impact on the environment, it's for a limited time. By the way, there's no proof yet that it's having any negative impact on the environment. So this is just an assumption. Okay? Now, number two is the fact that it's just consuming energy, and there's a lot of it in China. So, by the way, it takes a lot of energy to run a bank, like a traditional bank. It takes a lot of energy to run, and then the energy utilization is maybe just a little bit more. Okay, let's not say a little bit more, because crypto mining really takes a lot of power. So yes, let's say it's much more, but it's nothing to be alarmed by. It's nothing to raise dust about. Okay. So basically, that's it. Cryptocurrency does not affect the environment. It takes a lot of energy, yes. It takes a lot of electricity, yes. But negatively impacting the environment, not yet. Excuse me. No proof yet about that. Okay. So that is that. Now, the fifth myth we're going to be debunking is the fact that this one is very popular. The fact that a lot of people feel like cryptocurrency is a scam. If you're still here, if you're still with me, please drop a comment in the comment section and let me know you're here. If you're listening on Facebook, drop a comment in the comment section and let's know you're still with us, you're following us. Also, if you have a question, feel free to start dropping them in the comment section because we'll be wrapping up very soon. Okay, now I'm sure you've heard this one a lot of times. Cryptocurrency is a scam, like it's scam, you're going to get scam, it's not real and all of that. Generally, the blockchain industry or the digital asset industry generally, forex, cryptocurrencies, they have a bad reputation when it comes to scams because there are lots of them. Okay, I won't even deny that fact. There are lots of pumps and dumps. You know, people just shill coins. We have a whole lot of that everywhere, and it's really sad because it discourages so many people from coming into the industry. And we've also seen cases of some scam ICOs. Now, you know, some ICOs that are proving to be scams and all of that. But the fact that we have a lot of scam in the industry does not mean that cryptocurrencies in themselves are a scam. Cryptocurrencies are not a scam. Like I said, they might be intangible, they might be invisible, they might be, digital, but they are not a scam. They have value. Now, here's where it gets interesting, and this is what everybody should do. Every industry, every investment vehicle, everything that has to do with the financial sector is prone to scam. So what every individual should do, or every potential investor should do, is that they should treat cryptocurrencies the same way they would treat any other investment. Now, what do I mean by this? What I mean is that just like you would do with any investment, if someone comes and says, oh, invest in this business, it's profitable, you wouldn't just take your money and invest without doing some research. And that is exactly the same way you should approach cryptocurrencies. You do not buy a coin because you just saw somebody randomly somewhere saying that this coin is good, buy it. Everybody, literally these days, everybody is a coin recommender. Everybody's recommending a coin. Everybody is analyzing a coin. You know, in this day and age, you need to be careful. Don't just hear that this coin is pumping and you just go ahead and buy it. You will get yourself scammed. So you should treat cryptocurrencies with a healthy dose of skepticism. All right. That is what that means is that you should go and do your own research. You should be skeptical about any coin at all, apart from the ones that we know, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, and all of that. You should be skeptical when you hear a new project. You should go and do your research. Do your research and then exercise a lot of caution. Don't risk more than you can afford. Okay? So, but then you should know that anybody can be scammed anywhere. Even in the banks, they scam people. All right? I do not mean the banks themselves, but you know, there are fraudsters everywhere that get access to information of customers in the bank, and they use those information to scam them. So you have to be careful and treat every investment with a level of caution and a healthy dose of skepticism. All right, that said, and I believe we understand that, the sixth myth we have to debunk tonight is the fact that government can stop cryptocurrencies. Okay, now in Nigeria, the government has officially placed a ban on cryptocurrencies, and with the coming of the CBDC and its launching in October 1st, hopefully we were looking forward to them raising the ban. Hopefully, let's be hopeful. But then this is not the case just in Nigeria. This is the case in so many countries of the world. But then the government can only ban cryptocurrencies. It is impossible for them to outrightly stop it. All right. That is why you see that despite the fact that there's a ban on cryptocurrencies in Nigeria, we found our way around it. People are trading cryptocurrencies because cryptocurrency trading is as simple as sending an email. Once you have an internet connection, you can trade. All right. So it's not possible for the government to outrightly shut it down, except they want to shut down the internet. Okay. So that's the only way they can outrightly stop it. Apart from that, the government can only ban it. They cannot stop it. That's the highest they can do. Now, the seventh myth we are going to be debunking tonight is the fact that cryptocurrencies are complicated to deal with. I told you that before I started my crypto journey, I felt like it was too complicated. I felt like it was ambiguous and I couldn't understand it. But I realized on getting into the industry that in as much as the underlying technology behind digital currencies, the blockchain technology itself might be complicated, right? It has its own technical terms, it's quite complex. But as an average crypto trader or an average crypto user, you don't need to deal with all of that technicality. You don't need that. All you need to do is understand how the market works, understand what you need to do, understand how to take your chances, and boom, you're good to go. So in reality, cryptocurrencies are not exactly complicated. Okay? Now, the eighth myth we're debunking tonight is the fact that blockchain has only one demonstrable use case, cryptocurrencies. Now, I'm going to explain this. When we talked about blockchain in our first episode, we talked about the case use of blockchain. We talked about how the blockchain is going to disrupt a lot of other industries, banking, and it's already doing that. It's going to disrupt the medical industry, e-com. It's going to disrupt so many sectors, even the voting system and even education. All right, music and the way people get their royalties and all of that. We said all of this, but now there's a myth that there's been an argument that people have talked about so many uses or use cases of blockchain, but so far so good. We're only seeing one use case, and that is what? Cryptocurrency. So what happened to the other use case of blockchain? Why is it that we're only talking cryptocurrency? We've not really seen any innovative use of blockchain in other industries, in medicine, for example, in education, for example. But then this argument is valid, all right? The use of cryptocurrency has been the most successful use case of blockchain. But if you check closely, you'd see that there are lots of new innovations in the ecosystem. These innovations are growing at a very rapid pace. We have smart contracts now, smart contracts that can allow you to, store a contract. We have DeFi, we have NFTs. So we can see that the use case of blockchain is growing by the day. And as time goes on, we're going to have even more simplified use cases and more down to earth, more relatable use cases of blockchain in the days to come. As relatable as, okay, maybe you want to place an order or something in your house, and then you can use the blockchain application or something to place the order and it gets delivered to you. In the days to come, we're going to have such simple use cases. All right, so we're going to be talking about the second to the last one, and then I'll be taking questions shortly. Now, the ninth myth that we're going to be debunking is the fact that it's been said over time that cryptocurrencies will eventually replace fiat currencies. Now, this is not exactly true. We talked about this in one of our sessions back, I think 2 months ago. Now, fiat currencies are issued by the bank, all right? They're issued by the bank. Cryptocurrencies are not. They are decentralized. There's no person, no unit in control of the system. It is self-running, self-automated. It works by itself. Now, in as much as cryptocurrencies have a ton of advantages over the traditional financial system, they still cannot replace fiat currencies. Why? I said it earlier on that there's a part of the population that will never understand how blockchain works. Okay? There's a part of the population that will never understand it. Our parents, they're skeptical about it. They're not really interested in it. And this is the same technology that a lot of governments are fighting against. So there's no way cryptocurrencies will replace fiat currencies, in as much as they have so many advantages, obviously, over the traditional system. They will not replace them. Okay, because the fiat currencies still have their place. All right, they still have their place. Okay, so finally, the 10th myth that we're going to be debunking today is the fact that it is too late for you to become a crypto owner. Now, this is the biggest myth ever. It's the biggest lie ever. Why? Because in as much as cryptocurrencies have been around for a long time, since 2019, since 2009, I said at the beginning of this show that it wasn't until about 2014, 2015 that we started having lots of information about the industry, and lots of people now really began to understand how it works. So in reality, this space is still relatively young. So in as much as Bitcoin is at $50,000 and all of that, you might be feeling like, oh, it's late for me to get in. It's not late. And I'll tell you the reason why. Because cryptocurrencies, since the day that they were launched and up until this time, and even in the nearest future, they will continue to be on a bull run. Now, does this mean we're not going to have periodic bearish markets? Of course not. We just came out of a bear market, right, that lasted for a couple of months. We're going to have this normal cycles, the ups and downs, the bear and the bull. But generally, cryptocurrencies are bullish. That is why now is still a good time for you to get in. All right, now it's still a good time for you to get in. Now the twist to it here, and this is the truth, is the fact that when you invest in some cryptocurrencies at this point, you might not be as profitable as some persons who invested some couple of years back, except you have a very huge capital, okay? Then you might be able to, pull out a very huge profit. But generally, if you're just trading as an average trader, you might not be able to make so much profit like the early adopters, but you'll still be profitable. So you don't have to wait until you have $50,000 to buy one Bitcoin. You can buy in portions, you can buy in fractions. You have $100 you can buy, you have $50 you can buy, you have $30 you can buy, you can do all of that and get into this ecosystem, because blockchain is the future, cryptocurrency is the future. On a final note, and then I'm going to be taking questions after this. Finally, we've debunked these myths, and 10 of them. Of course, in case you join in late, you can go back and rewatch after this live stream. Okay, so we've debunked 10 myths, but there is one fact that is true. This one is not a myth, it's a fact. And the fact is that cryptocurrencies are here to stay. But I would like you to note, cryptocurrencies are here for life. Cryptocurrency is the future, and blockchain is the future. It's not going to disappear into thin air like some people are waiting for. It's not going to crash down and go into extinct. If you're waiting for that, you're just wasting your time, honestly. Yes, we might have some really bad days, we might have some really bad bear markets, but cryptocurrency is here to stay. And the earlier you get in on this technology, the better for you, because the innovations that are coming are going to be more disruptive. The innovations that are coming are going to be, they're going to be massive. And by the way, the blockchain industry is so huge. I said last week that we're going to be delving very soon into the human capacity needs in the blockchain industry. I always say that the blockchain industry is the only industry that has the ability to absorb the idle manpower that we have in Africa. Blockchain was actually made for Africa. You see the level of unemployment we have. I don't think any industry, any of our traditional industries can take it. Blockchain can take it and still have allowance for more. Okay, because the industry is so huge, the manpower needs are so much, yet the available manpower is so limited. Okay, so we're going to be delving into that. That's going to be a series. We're going to be delving into that very soon. So the earlier you get in on this technology, the better for you. Because buying and holding Bitcoin is not the only way to make money. You can get a crypto job. You can become a specialty in one area of blockchain, and you begin to make, you wouldn't even need to trade. You make so much money that you might not even need to trade. Okay, so guys, that is that for tonight. I hope you enjoyed the session. I hope you learned something. If you got something, drop a comment in the comment section.